The birds wouldn't touch him. King Saul's body hung on Bethshan's wall for 7 days, yet no decay touched his flesh. When the morning mist rolled in, his fingers curled as if grasping his lost crown. The Philistine guards joked, until their laughter turned to screams in the night. Men of Jabesh Gilead woke with their beards stiff with frost, their bedsheets soaked in sweat. Each had dreamed of a headless king whispering, "Bring me home before the defiler comes." Their livestock died that same dawn, their eyes pecked out by unseen beaks. When they reached Be'ah 3 years later, famine gripped Israel. Women birthed stillborns with Saul's hooked nose. Fields yielded wheat that crumbled to ash. When David sought God, the answer came, Saul's blood debt remains unpaid. The surviving Gibeonites came with sunken eyes and blackened nails. "Give us 7 of Saul's sons," they croaked. "We will hang them before Yahweh at Gibeah." Their breath smelled of freshly turned earth. David selected 7 grandsons of Saul, all but Mephibosheth. As nooses tightened around their necks, their spines snapped, then healed with wet cracks. Their feet began kicking in unnatural unison. The oak trees groaned as bark split to reveal human teeth. Roots coiled around the corpses, stitching them into a ghastly throne. From its base, skeletal fingers clawed upward, Saul's hand, still wearing his ring. That night, a scribe found new text in Leviticus, "The earth devours only what is owed. 7 for 7. But the eighth opens the door." The ink reeked of grave mold. Mephibosheth limped into court, his legs dragging invisible chains. "They sing in my dreams," he whispered. Father and brothers ask, "Where is the son who escaped?" His shadow had too many fingers. David ordered Saul's bones exhumed. The grave smelled of spoiled myrrh. The skull's jaw moved, chanting, "Blood balance. King tithe. Flesh debt." When reburied with the 7, the famine broke, but the land remembered. Gibeah's shepherds saw 7 tall figures and 1 stooped shadow circling the hanging hill at dawn. Where they stepped, grass died in Hebrew letters, Adamah, the hungry earth. Farmers reaped wheat that screamed when cut. Millstones ground flour mixed with fingernail shavings. Bakeries reported loaves that bled when sliced, the crumbs forming tiny nooses. A guard swore he saw Saul leading 7 shadows through Jerusalem's gates. Their nooses dragged maggot trails spelling, "One more." The next morning, David found his scepter wrapped in burial linen. The high priest collapsed after reading Exodus 21 verse 23, now followed by fresh text, but what of the lives between? The unchosen? The spared? His tongue turned black as he died. Mephibosheth's limp worsened. His right foot now twisted backward. Servants heard him arguing with empty air, "I wasn't there. I didn't watch them die." His mirror reflected a second face. At Gibeah, the oak throne pulsed with stitched skin. On rainy nights, it emitted a child's laughter. Offerings of milk curdled before reaching its roots. David's concubine bore a stillborn clutching a scroll, the defiler waits where the spared son kneels. Mephibosheth's prayer rug reeked of embalming spices. A dying Gibeonite gasped, "We asked for 7, but the ritual requires 8. The earth remembers Nob's slaughtered priests. The scales still tilt. His corpse melted into worms. Records showed 1 survivor of Nob, Abiathar. When questioned, his eyes rolled back, "The king's blood pays the priest's debt." That night, David's bed became infested with grave beetles. David aged overnight. His bones ached with tiny noose burns. The marks appeared on Solomon's cradle the day he was born. Wet nurses heard 7 voices singing lullabies. Solomon built God's house over Gibeah's hill. Workers heard 7 voices chanting psalms, and an 8th whispering Numbers 35:33, "Blood defiles the land." The mortar wept red. Every 70 years, the Temple Mount's eastern wall cracks where Saul's throne stood. The substance tests as hemoglobin. Archaeologists report hearing counting in biblical Hebrew. A Karaite scribe's margin note warns, when the eighth returns, the Defiler claims a king of David's line. The ink contained grave dirt and crow's blood. 2 Samuel 9 claims David spared Mephibosheth out of kindness. A Qumran fragment adds, for he bore the mark between his shoulders. His descendants still itch there during eclipses. In 2023, 7 crows perched on the western wall, their beaks holding wheat stalks forming Hebrew letters, he hungers still. The photo developer's hands blistered. From Absalom's hanging to Zedekiah's blinding, Saul's ghost counts his descendants' deaths. The math never balances. There's always one missing, one life unaccounted for. Kabbalists whisper that when Messiah comes, he must first pass Gibeah's hill. 7 nooses will sway empty, and an 8th will hold one unanswerable question. The land remembers. The earth keeps books. Under every Jerusalem throne, the soil whispers Saul's last words, God has turned his face away. Check your lineage. If ancestors fled Gibeah between harvests, you might be the 8th. And the Defiler always collects.